Are you truly awake? Imagine waking up one morning, looking in the mirror and asking yourself, am I truly living or am I merely existing? Do you rush through life, caught in endless worries, regrets, and distractions? Does your mind feel restless, like a candle flickering in the wind? In the snow-capped mountains of Tibet, where silence speaks louder than words, Buddhist monks have guarded the secrets of mindful living for centuries. What if their wisdom could transform your life? Stay with me until the end of this story, because today we will embark on a journey through the eyes of a restless traveler named Tenzin, who sought enlightenment but discovered something far greater, the art of truly living. The story of Tenzin, the seeker of peace. Tenzin was a man of great ambition. He had traveled to many lands, met scholars and sages, and accumulated wealth. But despite his knowledge and possessions, his heart felt empty. One night, as he stared at the vast sky, he whispered, "What is missing?" A wise elder overheard him and said, "Go to the monastery atop the sacred mountains. There, 5 ancient teachings will reveal what you seek." And so, Tenzin began his ascent, unaware that he was about to experience a transformation beyond his imagination. The art of silence, the power of inner stillness. After days of climbing, Tenzin reached the monastery, where an old monk greeted him with a serene smile. "Why have you come?" the monk asked. "I seek wisdom," Tenzin replied. The monk led him to a quiet chamber and said, "Then be silent." For 7 days, Tenzin was forbidden to speak. At first, his mind screamed in protest. Thoughts raced, memories surfaced, emotions swirled like a storm. By the 3rd day, he felt suffocated. But then, something changed. As he surrendered to silence, his mind began to quiet. The world became clearer. The rustling of leaves, the rhythm of his breath, the feeling of the present moment. On the 7th day, the monk returned and asked, "What have you learned?" Tenzin bowed and whispered, "My mind is like a lake. When it is still, it reflects truth." The monk nodded. True wisdom arises when the noise of the mind settles. In silence, you will find yourself. The feather and the boulder, letting go of attachments. One evening, the monks took Tenzin to a cliffside. There, the head monk placed a feather in one of Tenzin's hands and a heavy boulder in the other. "Let them go," the monk instructed. Tenzin released the feather first. It floated effortlessly, carried by the wind. Then he hesitated, clutching the boulder. It was familiar, comforting. "Why do you resist?" the monk asked. "Because I am afraid to lose it," Tenzin admitted. "But does it serve you?" Realizing the truth, Tenzin dropped the boulder. It crashed to the ground, and he felt an unexpected lightness in his heart. The monk smiled. Our fears, regrets, and attachments are like the boulder. We carry them for so long that we forget how heavy they are. Let go, and you will be free. That night, Tenzin reflected. What burdens was he still carrying? The mirror of truth, observing without judgment. One morning, the monks handed Tenzin a mirror and said, "Look into it and describe what you see." He saw his face, tired, weathered, full of past struggles. "Now," the monk said, "hold the mirror to the world." Tenzin turned the mirror outward and saw the trees, the sky, the birds. They simply were, without judgment, without comparison. "Do you see?" the monk asked. "When you judge yourself, you create suffering. But when you observe life as it is, you find peace." At that moment, Tenzin understood. Mindfulness is not about changing who we are, but about seeing ourselves clearly, without resistance, without shame. The dance of the flame, accepting change. One night, the monks lit a candle before Tenzin and asked, "What do you see?" "A flame," he answered. "Is it the same flame as a moment ago?" Tenzin watched carefully. It flickered, moved, changed shape. "No," he admitted. "It is always changing." The monk nodded. "So too is life. Clinging to the past is like trying to hold onto a flame. Accept change, and you will never suffer." Tenzin thought about all the moments he had resisted change, the people he had lost, the dreams that had faded, the fear of the unknown. That night, as he watched the candle burn, he whispered a vow to embrace life as it comes. The empty bowl, the secret to fulfillment. On his final day, the monks gave Tenzin an empty bowl and said, "Go fill it." He walked through the village asking for food. Some gave him rice, others gave him fruit, some turned him away. At sunset he returned. "Is your bowl full?" the monk asked. "Yes," Tenzin said, "and yet it began empty." The monk smiled. "Remember this, a full heart begins empty. When you let go of ego, pride, and desires, you make space for life to fill you. This is the secret to true fulfillment." Tenzin bowed deeply, for he now understood. Mindfulness is not about having more, it is about needing less. When Tenzin descended from the monastery, the world had not changed, but he had. 1. He embraced silence, for in stillness he found truth. 2. He released attachments, for he knew freedom lay in letting go. 3. He observed without judgment, seeing life as it was. 4. He accepted change, flowing with the rhythm of existence. 5. He kept his bowl empty, allowing life to fill him with each new moment. For the first time, he was truly alive. What about you? Tenzin's journey is your journey, so ask yourself. 1. Can you sit in silence and listen to your heart? 2. What boulders are you still carrying? 3. Can you see your reflection without judgment? 4. Are you clinging to the past, or can you accept change? 5. Is your bowl open to receive what life offers? The Tibetan monks teach that mindfulness is not a destination, it is a way of being. So the question is, will you wake up and live?